And welcome back to another episode of Bant with Laurencia. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing great. Today's episode is sponsored by Didi Beauty's Wigs. This is a 22-inch coily hair, 100% human hair, and I am loving it. As you can see, I am glowing. This just went from 0 to 100. Trust me, I love it. I'll just leave a link down in the description box. If you want to order this, you can enjoy and look as beautiful as I do. So for today's episode, let me just jump right into it because it's a trending video, it's a trending topic. Now this is about a mommy Gio. Hey, I saw this video online, and before this video, she was talking about being married for 36 years, and the secret of being married for that long is because she has endured endurance. I mean, listen. She said she has to play the fool to be married for that long, and it begs the question: for you to be married or for you to be in a relationship, do you have to play the fool, or do you have to just be a punching bag? Not literally, but just lying down there and taking everything that comes your way. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because today is Sunday. And these are mommy Gios that goes on the altar and talks to women, talks to married women who most times, marriages, I think, they don't go to counselors, they don't go to therapists or people to advise them, like professionals to advise them. What they do mostly is to go to pastors, is to go to mommy Gios to kind of lay their complaints or to kind of talk about their marital issues. Now, before I even go into this topic proper, let me just play the video for you to understand where I am coming from, or for you to watch the trending video that kind of triggered this video. So watch this.
Hello, I still remain Pastor Julie Onoviona. I've come to realize in this 39 years of being with my husband, I realized I had to play the fool for the marriage to work. Playing the fool even when I know I am right. Foolishness in relationship. For you to sustain your marriage, you have to play the fool. Playing the fool when even though you know you're right from your left. The man is claiming right, you are claiming right. It will not work. And that's why one has to play the fool while the other person remains the one that knows it all. That's the secret of these 39 years of being together. Playing the fool doesn't mean you don't know you're right. It does not make you to be a slave. Fully that you are being cheated, knowing fully that your spouse is playing on your integrity, but because of the vow you have made together to stay till eternity, and for God. And if children are involved, because of the children, you just have to overlook so many things. And that's where the place of forgiveness comes in. Forgiveness because of God, because of the relationship, because of the children, and for you to move forward. So for you to sustain your relationship, for you to continue in the relationship, one person has to play the fool. It means one has to be blind to whatever you see and the other one deaf to whatever you hear.
Now, before I even go into this video talking about mommy Gio and her analysis, let me just tell you about a story that broke 2 weeks ago. So this lady came out online. She called out her husband. They lived in the US. They were married. According to her, they were happily married for 12 years. They have 2 children. So she said before they got married, the husband was a struggling engineer. She also was a nurse, or she is a nurse. So they were kind of working together to build their life together. So she literally met him when he had nothing. And according to her, she said that at that point, the family were disappointed in him because, he traveled abroad. So they were expecting truckloads of money from him. And at that point, he wasn't even finding his footings, not to talk of, sending money to the family. Now, she met him, they started building together, they got married, moved into a 1-bedroom house or something, and she said she prayed for her husband. I don't know if it was prayer, but what I believe is when you have two household income, it will be easier for you guys to save and invest money, which they did. According to her, they bought a very massive house. According to her, they moved into this house, they were doing okay, they saved a lot of money, they took some loan, built houses in Nigeria, paid off that loan, they were investing both Nigeria and in America. Now, she said trouble started when the husband started going to Nigeria frequently. According to her, she said that the man said he had investments, or he wanted to start investing in Nigeria, or started looking at their investments, looking over their investments, overseeing their investments in Nigeria. She thought, okay, it's not a problem, because sometimes if you leave all these things in the hands of strangers, you might lose everything. So she allowed him to go to Nigeria. He started from, once a year, twice a year, to 3 times a year. She was thinking, no problem. That's not an issue. According to her, during one of his frequent visits, he said he got a contract, a government contract, to execute whatever she said he wanted to execute, and that he needed some money to kind of start up the contract. Now, he told her that he will be selling off one of their properties in Nigeria, worth about 50 million, to use to, start up that contract. And according to her, he brought, the contract papers and everything looks legit. So she said, this is going to bring a lot of money, so go ahead. According to her, he left, went back to Nigeria, stayed for a long time. She felt that her husband was taking care of the contract. Now, he came back after, that was still during the pandemic, because they were still wearing face masks and all that. He came back and they went to the airport to pick him up. Everything was rosy. He came back home. They continued their family as usual. So, when everything kicked off was when a friend called her, like a distance friend. Some of these friends that you haven't spoken to in like 2-3 years, they just called her and said, how are you doing? How is everything going? How is your husband? And she was like, oh, he's fine, we're fine, everything is okay. So the friend was kind of asking, is anything happening? Is anything wrong in your marriage? She said no, that her marriage is perfect, that nothing is wrong. The friend proceeded to ask her if the husband was angry or is angry with her. And she said no, that the husband is not angry, they are fine, nothing happened. The friend now said, listen, I don't want to tell you this, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I saw a picture from my friend's profile that your husband got married to another lady. She was like, no, that's a lie. Like, no. Her husband is in Nigeria for business. She said no, that the pictures are actually both wedding and honeymoon. Both wedding and honeymoon. And in fact, they celebrated their 1-year anniversary. She said no, that cannot be. It's not possible. That she cannot, that her husband is not that kind of person. So according to her, she ended the call thinking this friend is just one of those friends that want to break up her marriage. She said she picked up the phone and called her mother-in-law, because she was trying to call the husband. The husband's number was not going through. So she called the mother-in-law to ask, did your son get married? And the mother-in-law said, no, who told you that kind of a lie? That no, her son did not get married. You are the only wife. This, that. But according to the story, the parents of the husband, this mother-in-law now that is denying that the son is not married, actually followed the son to go and marry the second wife without informing the first wife. And now that the first wife was asking her about it, she blatantly denied it. She was like, okay, that's okay. Since everybody is denying this thing, maybe she's just overthinking everything. But she said, okay, she started digging. People were making her look crazy because if she called the family of the guy, they would tell her, no, 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 that's a lie. Who is telling you this? She would call the husband. The husband would deny, deny, deny. Now, how can he get married? He's in Nigeria to do business, that he's not there to get married. This lady said she so much wanted to believe them, but she was not having it. So she contacted her, the bearer of the bad news, to say, how did you get this story? Like, okay, show me pictures. She said that was when the lady started flooding her with pictures, sent all the pictures, pre-wedding shoots, wedding pictures, both traditional white wedding, honeymoon pictures, guys. This lady sent her everything. She said she couldn't believe that her husband, somebody she married, somebody she's been with for a very long time, 12 years, and they share 2 children, have assets together, could get married to somebody else without even telling her and even denying it when asked. So she had to call back the parents, which is the mom, to say, this is what I'm getting. These are the pictures. Why would you deny this? And funny enough, the mom was in those pictures. The mother that was denying it was in those pictures. So this woman could not deny it anymore. She just said, just take it. He's a man. What can you do? He has already married her. Just have patience. Since the wife is in Nigeria, you are the one in America. Just have patience. Now, these are the issues. I mean, I understand that, marriage, you have to be submissive to your husband. You have to be patient. You have to let him lead. But just imagine getting married to this kind of person and having this mommy Gio as your mother-in-law. And then you're coming to her to say, this is what your son is doing. How would you want me to? And she tells you, oh, I for 39 years I played the fool. You have to play the fool. When you go and complain to family of your husband, they will tell you, no, just bear it, just relax, just don't look at your children for the sake of your children. And when that woman leaves just because of her mental health, they will say, she has ashewo, and she left because so that she will go and be running all over the streets. These are the issues. This is a very big problem that people don't want to address. Let's say even after having all these issues, she tried talking to her mother-in-law, and mother-in-law was telling her, have patience, do this, do that. And then she goes to the church where Mommy Gio is the pastor's wife. She went to Mommy Gio to complain and say, this is what my husband did to me. My husband married another wife. My husband changed the whole property to his second wife's name. Even though he was not even considering his children. In fact, he sold everything to, marry the second. And you tell Mommy G all these things, and Mommy G will say, no, for 39 years I played the fool. And for you to remain in this marriage, you have to play the fool. You don't have to, you just have to be patient. Marriage, one person have to play the fool. Just play the fool. You're only 12 years, and play the fool for your children. Play the fool. These are the issues. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, no. Regardless, a man will not play. See, men will not tolerate half of what they give. Because even the Bible that is saying be submissive to your husband, that same Bible say husband love your wife. Now, if you love your wife, I don't think, even if you want to marry a second wife, you have to inform her just because of the love you have for her. But for you to go at her back to get married to a second wife, not only that, you transfer all the assets in Nigeria to your second wife's name. How is that loving your first wife? So you have failed the first rule of loving your wife. Then how can that woman now be submissive to you? Now Mommy Gio is now saying, play the fool regardless of whether he loves you, regardless of whatever he has done. Just play the fool so that you remain a wife. This is why, and these are the women that raised the generation of men that we are marrying today. Men that will tell you whatever they are. My mother took it, so why are you not taking it? My father used to slap my mother and she does not do anything. I just shouted at you and you are saying you're leaving. My mother was the one doing everything in the house. Why are you, you lack home training? That is why you cannot do certain things. My mother this, my mother that. You are. And these people are not realizing that they come from trauma. This is not healthy. This is not mentally stable. They don't understand it. They just want that, cycle to continue. They just want that cycle to continue. And ask that man, would you want your daughter to be treated the way you're treating your wife? They will tell you, no, before my son-in-law, I will have to make sure that he can take care of my daughter, but are you taking care of your wife? The truth is no. And that's Mommy Giona that is saying that, oh, she married for 39 years and she was a fool for 39 years. She will advise her daughter not to be a fool. But she's coming out boldly. But her son's wife has to be a fool for 39 years. I think what I've realized is that this generation, women were kind of trained to be wives, while the men, they just, like, I don't even think they gave men training. Like, they don't have home training. They lack home training. Maybe not home training, but I don't think most men understand what it takes to be a husband. I don't think anybody sat a guy down or a man down to say, okay, apart from providing, what does it take to be a husband? And most of these people, because they come from traumatic background, that is all they know. And nobody told them otherwise. So they take that into whatever relationship they're going into, and you don't know where the other partner is coming from. If the lady or the other partner is coming from an equally traumatic background, she might be sitting down there to say, okay, yes, so my mother took it for 39 years. I will take it for 39 years. You don't know. But what if that person came from a normal background where she has seen love, where she has seen people, husband and wife love each other, cohabit together? She is expecting more from the man that had no idea of what marriage is, and had no example of what a healthy marriage or a healthy family is. And these will come together to marry. And when she start having issues, she complains to the mother-in-law. Mother-in-law say, you have to be a fool for your marriage to work. She goes to Mommy Gio. Mommy Gio say, you have to be a fool for your marriage to work. I was a fool for 39 years. You have to take everything. You have to be submissive regardless. People are dying. People are mentally imbalanced. People are going through a lot just because of marriage. And if you cannot even complain to your mother-in-law because of this mindset, and you cannot go to church and complain to your pastor, and as we all know, African communities, I don't even think we understand therapy. I don't even think we understand the importance of counseling. Even if you want to get married, you have to get counseled in church, and they will still tell you this regurgitated, wife, be submissive to your husband, love your wife, without even breaking it down. I don't know if they break it down well, because I've not been to marriage counseling, so I don't know. But if they actually do that, then I don't think we'll be having all these problems that we're having, even if they do, because at that point, they've made that decision to get married. So it doesn't matter, crash course of 1 or 2 weeks to tell everybody. They will be agreeing to everything you're saying at that point, but the core values, the core of that person, what they have seen growing up, how does that affect who they are? I think this is what we need to start even looking at. In the olden days, when you want to get married to people, they go do, thorough background check. They will tell you these people, they have madness in their family. They will tell you these people, they don't stay in husband's house. They will tell you these people, they beat their wives. They will tell you these people, they don't feed them. As in, they have the history, they have the data to back up those things. I think what happened in these days is that they'll just ask you, is he tall, rich and handsome? Or once he has that quality, nobody gives a hoot about, you know, those kind of values or family background. And then people get into situations where, you know, we have all these problems, and mommy geos and the mother-in-laws are telling us, play the fool for you to have a successful marriage, play the fool for you to be there to take care of your children, or more. It's not business as usual. It is not. Anyway, I don't know. Please leave me a comment in the comment section. Do you think that, for those of you that are married, have you been playing the fool to have a successful marriage? I mean, we need to know the percentage, because if 90% or even if 60% is playing the fool to remain in marriages, maybe that data will help most of these younger divorced couples, because most of them, okay, you slap me, this one will tell you, no, my husband used to beat me, I stayed there for 39 years, so beating is not a deal breaker. So I think if we have this information, if the actual success criteria for marriage is playing the fool on the woman's part, because men don't play fool, it's the woman that will have to play the fool for the marriage to work. So if that is the key ingredients, we need to know. So leave me a comment in the comment section. What do you think is the key success to marriage? Whether that success means being there and being battered emotionally, mentally and psychologically for the rest of your life, or for the duration of that marriage, let us know, so that we get prepared mentally, physically and emotionally to get to play the fool. Thank you very much for watching today's episode. Please like and share. Thank you very much. Bye bye.